Hello and welcome to Communicate with Power. I'm Barry McLoughlin,
And I'm Laura Peck. Hi.
and we are here in beautiful Chester, Nova Scotia, which is one of our favorite places on the planet. It's on the south shore of Nova Scotia, probably an hour's drive from Halifax. I'm sure quite a number of you have been through it, perhaps been fortunate enough to stay in it. We have a lovely friend named Sarah who hosts us every summer for about
I need my
5 days.
Excuse me.
And it can even make you cough every once in a while.
Yeah.
So we're it's a coughing introduction here, but nevertheless, this is a great town to kind of celebrate. We came up here on July 1st, Canada Day, and we were able to join in the Canada Day celebration and out in Lunenburg. Really enjoyed that, and ever since then we've just been here in Chester. And so we've met a lot of friends from previous summers, right, Laura? And quite a number of Americans. We wish them happy 4th.
Great people.
Happy 250th. Yes, we've had our share of discussions about what's happening between Canada and the United States. We did a lot more listening than talking on this trip. We wanted to hear what our American friends are saying. Many of them immediately apologetic, of course, Laura. They were to me anyway, of what has been going on and the way Canada is being treated. Listen, we're I think pretty good sports about a lot of these things. We do try our best, and now we know, Laura, that CUSMA has been given the 10-year notice that we're going to be CUSMA, the Canada-U.S.-Mexico agreement, will be terminated in 10 years, and a lot of disappointment here, wouldn't you say, when that news came out?
Yeah, for sure. Now, forgive me, I had a cough. One thing we always teach people is to have water close by.
Yeah, usually try to think of that before it starts, but that's all right. I'd rather you went and got it.
Prepare.
Got to be prepared, yeah. So we're up here on the deck overlooking the harbor way down there, and it is actually not that far. And so we're in a real summery kind of mood. Laura, we started off our entire trip here in Sydney, where I think we mentioned last time, we taught our course called Get Your Message Across in an Age of Uncertainty. Overall, how do you think all that went?
The course went great. We're still getting positive reaction to it. And for us, we always learn new things also. And then we can still do our virtual business coaching, leadership coaching, and some people that might not be able to show up in person. The virtual seems to be working quite well.
Yeah,
that's for sure. Yeah.
We do have an executive in the United States who we coach once a week, and we did that virtually here already, and it's a lot of fun. I don't really like. Of course, I always like to do things in person, just like at the Shannon School of Business where we ran our course. It was half in person, half virtual, and I like the combination of the two. It gives energy at both ends of it. So that tends to be my number one preference. What they call here dual mode. In Ottawa, they tend to call that hybrid. But nevertheless, it's the two technologies, well, the in-person one as well as, of course, the virtual one. We're enjoying that too. So let's turn now to the fact that we do have, speaking of uncertainty, it is an uncertain world. We're seeing a tremendous amount of flux because of uncertainty about tariffs. We're seeing now, possibility of there's going to be a referendum in Alberta this fall over separation, or Alberta going to separate from us. I have no idea. The great thing about when you declare you want to separate, you really don't have to explain how would the economy of this even work. How could you possibly make what is relatively in population a small province? How would you make that work? Yes, we know they have a lot of oil and gas. That is true. So they do have a revenue source that they feel is sufficient. But nevertheless, it still has to get to what they call in Alberta to tidewater. You got to get that oil and gas there. And Prime Minister Carney flew to Alberta, and he and Daniel Smith, the premier, they agreed on a pipeline to run through southern British Columbia to the coast, and I presume that's going to be a really important one.
And I did find that the polling is demonstrating that more and more Canadians are in favor of this.
Of the pipeline.
It was extraordinary to see this week.
I hear a lot of negatives down here in Nova Scotia about it because a lot of people here are very sensitive to the environment. They feel that pipelines are anathema to it. But when you have a conversation with them, ask, okay, well, is Alberta just to sit on that oil and gas, do nothing with it? They can't really truck it anywhere of great substance. They do pipeline already, some down to the United States directly south. We talked about that last week. I won't go through that again. But, they're still kind of very much land bound, and it makes it very difficult for them to get the full value. However, you got to be able to do that in an environmentally sustainable way. And that's the reality of the world we're in. I think most people accept that. And finding that balance will be the challenge, as well as working with Indigenous peoples, because that pipeline will be crossing Indigenous territory in British Columbia. And they have a duty to consult, according to the Supreme Court, to consult with the First Nations peoples. So we'll have to see, obviously, how that goes. But the biggest change that Mark Carney brought, Laura, is that he's put a 2-year horizon. Once it begins, a 2-year horizon on all regulatory aspects of it, including Indigenous consultation, all of it to take place, environmental, everything, simultaneously. So usually these are 10 plus years and maybe many more. Now they've shrunk it all down to 2 years. Let's just see if that works, because this is a major initiative that the Prime Minister is moving forward on to offset the impending elimination of CUSMA and all of that. We still have very high tariffs, way beyond it, illegally put in place on steel, aluminum, lumber products, and forest products, and also auto. They're all violation of CUSMA, but he's doing them anyway, claiming that there are, terrorist reasons or some kind of lame excuse, fentanyl. He tries everything he possibly can to try to meet the tests that the Supreme Court has down there. Let's just see ultimately when it goes through if they're going to, they'll have to pay all that tariffs. Actually, they already had some rulings. They have to pay the tariffs back retroactively, which is already gathering. We're into the millions, if not hundreds of millions of dollars that they have to pay back already.
And also, when you speak to American business people, it costs them so much to account for where this product was made, their own products. It's just so complicated, the bookkeeping. It's really,
you mean because each item, it's a dishwasher, what part of that came from Canada?
Car parts.
You did tariff on that auto parts. Very good point. So this is, okay. A lot of people, I think, are fed up with all that stuff. I sort of sense that too, by the way. So we want to spend our whole time on that. But that's just obviously one of the uncertainty factors in the world. And there are many more. This has been an incredible heat wave that's gone through in our hometown, Ottawa. Boy, electricity went off. We checked with our daughter and sons back in Ottawa. And boy, they went through, a couple of days without any hydro. It's not good because you can't even use your freezer, et cetera, et cetera. It was pretty bad. Tons of rain that we hadn't seen in many a year. So we managed to avoid most of that here in Nova Scotia. We're very lucky. And so it's become, it is hot and warm everywhere. But you know what? It's not that oppressive humidity. It's a very pleasant heat, if you like, here in Nova Scotia, particularly in Chester. So, we're enjoying this very much. And Laura, it is the 40th anniversary of a couple we know, and we want to wish them happy anniversary. Probably the nicest couple that I would know, but we want to say hello to them. And also we want to, we'd love to hear from you. Let us know what some of your questions are, comments are. You're free to, you can disagree with us. Absolutely. We're one of those Canadians that doesn't really mind that. As long as you're respectful, we try to teach that. How do you be respectful? And you should encourage people to engage constructively with you. I've never claimed that I'm the fountain of all knowledge. And Laura, you haven't claimed that I know of. So, by all means, if you want to, have your views, we'd like to hear from you. So please, as long as you've been following our podcast, following our Substack, by all means, we'd love to hear from you. So, Laura, any final thoughts? Are we going to?
Well, just to thank the people of Cape Breton and Nova Scotia and Chester. It's been wonderful. Yeah. I even got to do some volunteer work here for the art gallery.
Yeah, the Chester Art Festival. Okay, so what was that really?
Well, so it's the celebrating the the art of Maud Lewis. She was a very famous artist, but there, as you can tell, my allergies are really, really bad here too, but that's okay. But the artist community here is very, very hard at work all the time. So at the Chester Art Gallery, they offer education courses. And so they had like a major showing the other night of the art, pottery, that kind of thing. Then the next day, there was a special event just for children, and they could come in, and it was very interactive. Also, they could paint, they could learn more about all of the great artists that are in Canada, and some Americans also, because there are so many who have homes here. So they are very much part of the community.
But you were selling 50-50 tickets. You and our friends.
That was interesting. But we raised a lot of money last night. Because, of course, in order for these places to thrive, because the winter, there's not a lot of people coming to visit, but there is a very thriving community here. But nevertheless, you still have to keep the heat on in the winter time. And so we did some great volunteer work, and it was great to work with other people also, and to learn about their lives. And there was great music, and of course lobster rolls, and all kinds of good things happened last night.
All right, everybody, we want to thank you so much. We're looking forward to actually heading back to Ottawa tomorrow, and to continue our summer. We're trying to have a more relaxed summer, but we still will be available for work, and that's something we never run away from. So we look forward to that. Thanks to everybody. Belated happy 4th, belated happy Canada Day to all Canadians, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you.